Life has a funny way of rewarding those who prepare, but punishing the ones who only wish. I often say, you don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to the hour. But let me go deeper than that. You don't just get wealthy by working harder. You get wealthy by thinking the right way, financially, intentionally, consistently. So today we're going to talk about something most people never learn in school but pay for all their life. How to think financially, how to work with rhythm, how to build wealth with focus, and how to let time be your greatest ally instead of your worst enemy. Because here's the truth. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Let's change that, starting now. When you want to change your financial life, the first step isn't about earning more. It's about knowing exactly where you stand. You see, most people avoid this step. They don't want to look too closely. They'd rather guess, estimate, or ignore. But wealth is not built on fantasy, it's built on clarity. So let me give you the truth. You cannot change what you won't confront, and you cannot master what you never measure. Years ago, I sat down with a man who wanted to become wealthy. I asked him, "What's your net worth?" And he said, "Oh, I'm not sure, but I think I'm doing okay." That's not how the wealthy think. The wealthy don't guess, they know. If you want to start the journey toward real financial independence, you must start with your financial baseline. That means calculating your net worth, every penny of it. Sit down, open your journal or spreadsheet, and begin with your assets. List out everything you own that has value. Start with your cash, what's in your checking account, your savings and emergency fund. Then look at your investment stocks, retirement accounts, crypto, whatever you've put money into with the hope it grows. Add the value of your home if you own it, your car if it's worth more than you owe on it, any businesses, collectibles, or other appreciating items. Total it up. Now it's time for the hard part, the liabilities. This is what you owe, your debts, your mortgage, your car loans, student loans, credit card balances, personal loans. Total it all. Be honest. There's no growth in denial. Subtract your liabilities from your assets. What you have left is your net worth. That number is your financial baseline. It's your starting line in the race toward wealth. Now let me tell you why this is powerful. First, it turns financial fog into financial focus. When you see that number in black and white, something inside of you shifts. You start to get serious. You start to take ownership. You stop saying, "I need to make more money," and you start asking, "Where's my money really going? How can I grow this number month by month?" Second, it creates a scoreboard for your progress. Just like a business tracks revenue and profit, your personal finances need metrics. Once you know your net worth, you can check it monthly. Even if it only grows by $100, that's forward motion. And over time, those small wins compound into something powerful. I remember the first time I tracked my own net worth. It was humbling. I had more month than money, but I didn't get discouraged. I got determined. I set a goal, grow it by 5% every month. That meant paying off a little more debt, saving a little more, making smarter purchases. And as I watched the number rise, my confidence rose with it. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. The wealthy live by numbers. They let data drive their decisions. So if you're serious about building wealth, don't just dream about riches, get honest about reality. Take out a pen and write down what you own and what you owe. Know your net worth like you know your birthday. Because once you know where you are, you can start planning where you want to go. And when you do that, when you take control of your financial baseline, you begin the journey from financial wandering to financial mastery. Most people think cutting back means going without, that saving money is the same as suffering. But that's not how the wealthy see it. Wealthy people don't cut back to punish themselves. They cut back to empower their future. There's a world of difference between sacrifice and strategy. And when you understand that, you can reduce your spending without ever feeling like you're living poor. Let me show you what I mean. The first step is to bring your spending into the light. Not just the total every category. Sit down with your bank statement and label your expenses in 4 buckets. Essentials, growth, luxury, and waste. Essentials are your needs rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation. Growth includes education, books, tools, coaching, anything that expands your mind or builds your business. Luxury is what feels good but isn't necessary dining out, subscriptions, gadgets. And waste? That's the spending that neither helps you live nor grow. It's money that goes out with nothing to show for it. Once you see these categories clearly, something powerful happens. You stop feeling like your spending is a mystery. You stop wondering where the money went. You start to see patterns, habits, some good, some destructive. And here's the golden rule. You don't start cutting across the board. You start trimming the waste. I once mentored a young man who was drowning in expenses. He wasn't rich, but he wasn't broke either. He was just scattered. I had him do this same exercise. Turns out, he was spending over $300 a month on subscriptions, fast food, and random purchases from his phone. None of it added value to his life. He cut those out, not because he was poor, but because he realized he was leaking opportunity. Then we looked at his luxurious love dining out. I didn't tell him to stop, I just told him to delay. Instead of eating out 3 times a week, he cut it down to once a week and made it special. It didn't feel like a punishment, it felt intentional. And the extra money? He started putting it into a small investment account. That account started small, but over time it began to grow. Every dollar had a job, no. And those little jobs started building something meaningful. Now here's where the psychology comes in. Most people associate cutting back with pain because they never link it to purpose. But when you cut waste and delay luxury with a reason, when you see those dollars go to work building your future, you don't feel deprived. You feel powerful. You feel in control. And that's what true wealth is: control over your life, your time, your resources. There was a time I too had to tighten the belt. I sold off a few things, cut down on entertainment, and simplified. Not because I was broke, but because I had a bigger dream. I wanted freedom more than I wanted cable television. I wanted compound growth more than I wanted the latest gadget. And let me tell you, it worked. Simplicity today bought me abundance tomorrow. So if you want to cut spending without feeling poor, remember this. You're not giving up your lifestyle, you're upgrading your mindset. Waste nothing, delay luxuries, spend on growth, and most importantly, give your money a mission. Because when your dollars stop being emotional and start being intentional, wealth becomes not just a possibility, but a habit. When people think about earning money online, they often imagine flashy results, overnight riches, or some magic platform that rains dollars with a few clicks. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. The internet is not a miracle. It's a marketplace. And just like any marketplace, it rewards value. If you want to build your first stream of income online, don't chase trends, share solutions. Teach what you know. Solve real problems. That's where it begins. Now, you don't need to be a world-class expert. You don't need a team, a studio, or 1,000 followers. All you need is one thing: a transformation you've experienced. Maybe you overcame burnout. Maybe you lost weight naturally. Maybe you figured out how to sell, organize, plan, code, lead, or write. That lesson you've lived through is your product. Because someone somewhere is searching for exactly what you've already solved. They don't want a guru. They want to guide someone just a few steps ahead of where they are. I remember mentoring a man who had spent 10 years in construction. Didn't think he was a teacher, but he had developed a system for estimating jobs, managing crews, and keeping projects on time and under budget. I said, package that. And he did. Wrote a simple guide, created a video tutorial, and sold it to other independent contractors. It wasn't fancy, but it was honest, practical, real, and it sold because it met a need. That's the key. Start with a journal. Write down a list of problems you've faced and overcome. Circle the one that others ask you about most. That's your starting point. Don't build a website. Don't build a course. Not yet. First, validate the idea. Post a short video or a thread online. Share the idea in a newsletter. Ask for feedback. Get 10 people to say, I'd buy that. If you get crickets, refine the message. If you get curiosity, you've struck something valuable. And here's a lesson the wealthy understand. Version 1 is never version final. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get it moving. I've watched people spend months designing the perfect course and never release it. Meanwhile, someone else shares a $10 ebook with real insight and builds a business around it. Action beats theory. Feedback refines the message. The market becomes your teacher. And don't forget pricing. Start low. Not because your value is low, but because you're testing. You're proving concept. As you improve, raise the price. Add bonuses. Offer group coaching. But start simple, start small, and start soon. So if you want to build your first stream of income online, don't look for shortcuts, look inside. Find the knowledge you've lived. Wrap it in a form that others can use. Share it, improve it, and keep showing up. Because once you make that first dollar not from labor, but from leverage, you'll never see income the same way again. That's the first seed of scalable wealth. Most people carry debt like a weight they've learned to live with. They tell themselves it's normal. Everyone has debt, everyone has payments, and so they shuffle it month to month, pay just enough to keep the wolves away, and never question whether they could actually eliminate it. But the truth is, debt is not just a financial burden, it's a mental one. And when you learn how to turn debt into a plan for wealth, you stop feeling buried and start feeling powerful. It begins with clarity. You've got to see your full financial picture. Don't hide from the numbers, face them. Make a list of every debt you owe. Credit cards, student loans, car payments, personal loans, whatever it is, write it down. Not in random order, but from smallest to largest balance. Not by interest rate. I know what the math says, but I'm not just after math, I'm after momentum. When you list your debts from smallest to largest, and you knock that first one out, something changes inside you. You feel progress. And progress fuels discipline. Now here's the plan. You pay the minimum payments on all your debts except the smallest. That one, you attack like your life depends on it. Sell something. Pick up an extra gig. Skip a few dinners out. Redirect every extra dollar toward that smallest balance until it's gone. And when it's gone, don't celebrate by relaxing. Celebrate by rolling that payment into the next debt. That's the snowball. And let me tell you, once it starts rolling, it moves fast. I remember working with a young couple who were drowning in $38,000 of debt. They were making decent money, but they had no plan. They were stressed, short-tempered, and always behind. We started by listing every debt. They had 5 credit cards, 2 car loans, and a student loan. I had them pay minimums on everything except the smallest credit card. They sold an old bike, skipped vacation that year, and put everything extra toward that first debt. Paid it off in a month. Then they took that freed up $150 and added it to the next one, then the next. 17 months later, they were debt-free. And what's more, they had built the habit of discipline. They didn't just eliminate debt, they gained control. Now, here's where the wealth plan comes in. After that last debt is gone, you take the snowball and roll it forward again, but this time into investing, into savings, into business tools, into anything that multiplies. That's the beauty of this process. You take the very energy you once used to dig a hole and redirect it toward building a foundation. Debt becomes training. It becomes your gym for financial discipline. Because if you can pay off a mountain of debt, you can build a mountain of wealth. And let me add this, don't beat yourself up for having debt. Just don't stay there. Use it. Learn from it. Let it teach you that discipline isn't a punishment, it's a path. You don't need a miracle. You need a method. And if you stay consistent, this method will transform how you handle money forever. Debt loses its power when you stop reacting and start planning. That's how the journey to wealth really begins. Most people misunderstand wealth. They think it's a number in a bank account, a car in the driveway, a house in a gated community. But real wealth is control over your time. It's not just about how much you earn. It's about what you're free to do with your hours. And one of the most powerful shifts in your financial life is learning to buy back your time. Now, I know when you're starting out, every dollar feels precious. You're trying to save, invest, build, and stay afloat. But here's something the wealthy understand early. Not all tasks are created equal. If you spend your best hours doing low-value task things that someone else can do for $10 or $15 an hour, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to do $100 an hour work or $1,000 an hour thinking. It's not about being above the work, it's about aligning your time with your value. I remember when I was still figuring this out. I'd mow my own lawn, clean the garage, go to the store 3 times a week. At the end of the day, I was tired, busy, and broke. And one day it hit me. I was so busy maintaining my life that I wasn't building anything bigger. I had filled my schedule, but emptied my strategy. So I made a rule. If someone else can do the task for less than what I aim to earn per hour, I delegate it. I don't delegate because I'm lazy. I delegate because I'm building. And here's the thing. Buying back your time doesn't start when you're rich. It starts when you realize your time is valuable. Hire someone to clean once a month. Use delivery for groceries. Automate your bills. Set up calendar tools so you stop playing email tag. Every little delegation you make frees up bandwidth, and you don't waste that bandwidth. You reinvest it into learning, building, connecting, resting, or creating. Let me tell you about a young entrepreneur I worked with. She ran a small online store and handled every single detail herself. She packed the boxes, answered the emails, posted on social media, designed the website. Her sales stalled, not because she lacked talent, but because she was drowning in tasks. I had her hire a virtual assistant for just 5 hours a week. That little shift bought her 5 hours to focus on marketing and product development. Within 6 months, her income tripled. Not because she worked harder, but because she worked smarter. That's the principle. Buy back your time and reinvest it in high-value activities. That's the difference between hustle and scale. The person who's always grinding may earn more short-term, but the one who builds systems and frees up time multiplies in the long term. And don't just buy back your time for business. Buy it back for your life. Use it to strengthen your relationships, study your values, pursue your health, and nurture your spirit. You're not just trying to make money, you're trying to live well. And life lived well is always worth the investment. So remember, money can buy a lot of things, but its highest return comes when you use it to reclaim your time, because the one who controls their hours controls their future. Most people think confidence is something you're born with. They think it comes naturally to the lucky few, or shows up magically when the bank account gets big. But let me tell you the truth, financial confidence isn't a gift, it's a muscle. And just like any other muscle, it gets stronger when you train it, not once, not in a rush, but daily, quietly, consistently. You see, people often look for one big win to feel confident with money. They wait for a bonus, a promotion, or some jackpot moment that finally makes them feel like they're good with money. But the problem with waiting for the big win is that you ignore the small victories that are right in front of you every single day. And those small victories, they're the foundation of long-term wealth, because the person who believes they can manage money is the one who eventually multiplies it. So here's what I've learned, and what I've taught others who turned their lives around every evening. Take a few minutes to do a simple exercise. Write down 3 things. First, one thing you earned today. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe you closed a small sale, collected interest on your savings, got paid for a freelance jobber. Maybe you simply earned your day's wage. Recognize it. Celebrate the fact that you showed up and created value. Second, write down one thing you learned about money today. It could be a lesson from a book, a podcast, a conversation, or even a mistake. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. The more you understand money, the less you fear it, and the less you fear it, the more control you have over it. Third, write down one decision you made wisely with money. Maybe you chose to cook at home instead of eating out. Maybe you paid a little extra toward debt. Maybe you held off on buying something you didn't need. These decisions may seem small, but I'll tell you, stack them daily and they form a wall of discipline no one can knock over. I worked with a man once who told me he'd never be good with money. "I've just always been bad with it," he said. But when I asked him to list out all the good money decisions he made that week, he surprised himself. "Well, I didn't buy that gadget I was eyeing. I paid extra on my credit card. I walked away from a bad investment opportunity." I said, "Does that sound like someone who's bad with money?" He smiled, and in that moment his identity started to shift. Not because his income doubled, but because his self-perception changed. Financial confidence doesn't come from luck. It comes from proof. Daily proof that you are making wiser decisions. Daily proof that you're growing, that you're earning, that you're learning. You start stacking these wins every night, and soon you'll start seeing yourself differently. You'll walk into rooms with more presence. You'll speak about money with more clarity. You'll make decisions with more calm, because you've built that belief brick by brick. So don't underestimate the power of your evening routine. Don't dismiss the little wins. That's where strength is built. That's where confidence is born. Because if you do the right things consistently, even quietly, you'll become the kind of person that wealth has no choice but to follow. When it comes to wealth, the most common mistake people make is thinking it's some far-off dream that belongs to others luckier, smarter, or born into the right circumstances. But the truth is, wealth is a process, a journey built day by day, decision by decision. And the most powerful way to begin that journey is by creating a 90-day wealth plan. This is where thinking long-term meets acting with focus and urgency. It's the bridge between your dreams and your reality. Why 90 days? Because it's long enough to create meaningful progress, but short enough to keep your momentum sharp. A 90-day plan breaks down the overwhelming mountain of "I want to be wealthy someday" into manageable, bite-sized steps. It demands that you set one clear financial goal, a number that excites you, whether it's saving $1,000, earning $3,000 from a side hustle, or paying off a credit card. This goal becomes your anchor. Once you've set that goal, break it down further. Divide your goal into monthly targets. If your goal is to save $1,000, that's about $333 per month. Break it down even more into weekly actions, the tangible steps you can take. Maybe it's selling a product, offering a service, or cutting back on small daily expenses. These weekly actions aren't vague intentions. They are your blueprint for success. The magic of a 90-day wealth plan lies not just in setting goals, but in keeping them visible and real. A simple tracker on your wall, a journal, or even your phone can hold you accountable. Every week, mark your progress. When you see numbers moving, even by small increments, it builds momentum. Your brain is wired to respond to progress. The visible reminder of success motivates you to keep going, to push harder. I remember when I first used this method. I wasn't born with a silver spoon, and the path wasn't clear. But breaking down my goals into 90-day chunks transformed my approach. It stopped me from feeling overwhelmed. It gave me clarity. Every small win on the tracker wasn't just a number, it was proof that my actions mattered. It was proof that I was capable of change. Your 90-day wealth plan is more than just a financial exercise. It's a mindset shift. It teaches you that wealth is not about waiting for the perfect moment or the right opportunity. It's about consistent action, deliberate focus, and daily discipline. When you commit to this short-term plan, you train your mind to think like a wealth builder, intentional, focused, and resilient. So, if you want to turn your financial dreams into reality, start here. Pick one goal, break it down, track it every day, and watch as your focus turns vision into victory. Wealth isn't just a destination, it's the journey you take every day with purpose and discipline. Your future self will thank you for the steps you begin now. Time is the one asset you cannot earn more of, borrow, or recover once spent. It is the most valuable investment you will ever make, far surpassing money or possessions. The truth is simple. but profound. What you do with your 24 hours today shapes your wealth, your success, and your life 5 years down the road. This is why guarding your time is not just wise, it's essential. I learned early on that distractions are the silent thieves of progress. They creep in disguised as emails, social media, casual chats, or endless scrolling. Before you know it, hours vanish and your goals remain untouched. The difference between those who succeed and those who drift is how fiercely they protect their time. When you treat your time like gold, you change your entire financial destiny. Imagine your day divided into blocks. Some are filled with routine chores and necessary tasks, but there are specific periods, those precious pockets of focused energy that can be dedicated solely to wealth building. Whether it's an hour of studying investment strategies, writing a business plan, or reaching out to potential clients, these moments are your most powerful leverage points. Schedule them as sacred appointments. Write them into your calendar and defend them as you would a crucial business meeting. I remember a time when my calendar was cluttered with distractions disguised as urgent matters. Once I began to treat my wealth-building activities as non-negotiable commitments, everything changed. I started waking up earlier, carving out time for personal development, and setting strict boundaries on interruptions. The result? Consistent progress, and the ability to seize opportunities that others missed because they were caught up in trivial distractions. Ruthlessness with distractions doesn't mean you eliminate rest or joy it. Means you prioritize your activities to align with your long-term goals. It means saying no to tasks, people, or habits that pull you away from your vision. It means understanding that every minute lost is a minute your competition might use to advance their own dreams. Guarding your time also teaches you discipline, the cornerstone of wealth. When you commit to protecting your hours for focused work, your mind sharpens, your productivity soars, and your confidence grows. You begin to value your efforts more, and the returns on that investment compound exponentially. Remember, time waits for no one. 5 years from now, you will be the sum of how you spent your days today. So ask yourself, are your hours invested in your future? Are you treating your time like the precious, non-renewable resource it is? If not, it's time to change the way you value your minutes. Begin now. Schedule your wealth-building tasks as sacred appointments. Eliminate distractions ruthlessly. Protect your time like it's the most valuable currency you possess, because it is. Your future wealth depends on the investment you make in your time today. If you want to accelerate your journey to financial success, one of the most powerful strategies you can adopt is mentorship. You see, wealth is not just about working harder. It's about working smarter and often working with the right people. When you find someone who's one step ahead of you financially, someone who has traveled the path you want to walk you, unlock a treasure trove of knowledge, shortcuts, and insights that no book or course can fully capture. I learned early on that trying to figure everything out by myself was like trying to build a house without a blueprint. I could spend years making costly mistakes or reinventing the wheel. But when I connected with mentors, those who had already walked the path, they showed me what worked, what didn't, and what to avoid. That guidance saved me time, money, and frustration. Now, mentorship is not about being a passive student. It's about creating a mutually beneficial relationship. You must bring value to the table, whether that's your time, skills, enthusiasm, or a fresh perspective. Offer to help in some way. Maybe you assist with their projects, share ideas, or simply become someone they can rely on. When you give, you open the door for them to share their wisdom with you. The true power of mentorship lies in proximity. You don't have to be best friends with a billionaire to gain from their knowledge. Even one conversation with someone just one level above your current position can change the entire trajectory of your financial life. They can introduce you to ideas, networks, and opportunities that would have taken years to discover on your own. I recall a time when a single conversation with a mentor led me to reimagine my business approach. That shift not only increased my income, but also changed how I viewed success itself. It was a reminder that the fastest way to grow is by standing on the shoulders of those who have gone before you. Mentorship also builds your mental discipline. When you see how someone successful manages their time, their resources, and their mindset, you begin to mirror those habits. It's a powerful form of learning by example. Over time, this proximity molds your thinking and behavior, aligning you with a higher standard of financial success. If you're serious about multiplying your income, start by identifying potential mentors within your reach, people you respect, who inspire you, and whose financial position you aspire to reach. Reach out humbly, offer your help, and be ready to listen and learn. Remember, one conversation, one new idea, one connection can become the catalyst that changes your money path forever. Success shortcuts are hidden in proximity. Seek mentorship, give value, and watch as your income multiplies through the wisdom and experience of those who have already succeeded. When it comes to building wealth, one of the most powerful tools you can wield is your imagination. Visualization isn't just daydreaming, it's a deliberate exercise in training your mind to see the future you desire, to focus your energy, and to align your daily actions with that vision. It's what separates those who drift aimlessly through their financial lives from those who pursue wealth with clarity and purpose. Each morning, before you dive into the busyness of your day, take a moment to close your eyes and vividly imagine your ideal lifestyle. Picture the house you live in, the office or workspace where you spend your days, the way you give back to others, and how you relax after a day of meaningful work. See it all with detail, the colors, sounds, emotions, and the people around you. The more sensory detail you add, the more real it becomes to your mind. Why is this so important? Because the mind is like a rehearsal room for the body. What you repeatedly picture, you prepare yourself to execute. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined event and a real one. It responds by adjusting your motivation, your habits, and even your physiology to align with that picture. This means your daily focus, decisions, and energy naturally begin to flow toward making that vision your reality. I have seen firsthand the power of visualization in my own journey. There were times when the goals seemed distant or the path unclear, but by consistently visualizing success, whether it was a new business venture, financial freedom, or the impact I wanted to create, I kept my motivation alive. That mental rehearsal sharpened my focus, allowing me to push through setbacks and distractions with renewed vigor. Visualization also works as a mental anchor. When challenges arise, and they will, that clear image of your financial future reminds you why you endure. It pulls you back from discouragement and keeps your mind tethered to the bigger picture. Without this, it's easy to get lost in short-term struggles and lose sight of the long-term rewards. Don't think of visualization as a passive activity. It is an active practice that requires intention and repetition. Spend those few minutes each morning, not just imagining wealth, but feeling it. Feeling the confidence, the security, the pride in your accomplishments. This emotional connection makes your vision more compelling and your commitment stronger. Pair your visualization with a plan. Let that clear image of your future guide what you do each day. Ask yourself, does this action bring me closer to the life I see? If not, course correct. The vision becomes your compass, and your daily effort becomes the steps toward that destination. Remember, wealth is not a matter of luck or chance. It is the outcome of a focused mind, deliberate action, and a vision so clear it drives you relentlessly forward. Start each day by painting that mental picture, and you will find your body and mind naturally aligning to bring it into existence. As we come to the close of this conversation, remember this. Wealth is not merely about the dollars in your bank account, but about the discipline in your mind and the clarity of your vision. You have the power to shape your financial future, not by chance, but by choice. The habits you build today, the thoughts you nurture, and the actions you take daily are the foundation of your legacy. Success is a journey of steady steps, fueled by focus, patience, and unwavering commitment. Now's the time to take control. Commit to building your mental discipline. Surround yourself with those who elevate your thinking and act boldly toward your goals every single day. Track your progress, adjust your course, and keep your vision vivid. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Start where you are with what you have. Make a promise to yourself. You will think financially, work consistently, build with focus, and succeed over time. Wealth is within your reach when you align your mind and actions with intention.